Ah,
It is now. So it turns out you have to press the button. Oh my God.
it's
Today's a small disaster.
showtime.
It's showtime.
Sorry, I wanted to do that.
Let's do it.
It's
Try to match
showtime. Come on, Charlie, get in on it. Get in. No. I'm not quite in the frame. There we go.
No. And I just got dizzy, so that's going to be cool. Okay, maybe I should take off my hood. Okay. Regroup.
Yo.
Tracy.
Yes.
As you know, today I'm a bit of a disaster. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately, these things, because I'm just all over the place. But this is why you are in charge of speaking and not me.
Uh-oh.
Exactly. Uh-oh is right. So, Tracy, my dear.
Yeah.
First of all, welcome and thank you. I know that it's like 7 a.m. for you, and you're, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm very, very proud of you. And of Charlie. Thank you, Charlie, for joining us. Charlie is the best. Aww.
She's my coaching partner.
Dogs are the best coaches, aren't they? Because they just listen really well.
Are.
Yeah. Oh, girl. Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Great to not see you. I was going to say great to see you. Great to see you, Tracy. Great to feel the presence of the people who are watching now or later. That's what it is. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live, or LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook Live, because we're live all over. We're here. We're there. We're every freaking where. Any soccer fans? No? Okay, cool. So with me today is Tracy, one of our alumni / trainers / everything amazing about coaching that there is. And you've seen Tracy before, and there's a good reason for that. It's because she's pretty freaking phenomenal.
Oh.
End of session.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm just like, thank you.
Hey, thank you, Magda. I know I am wonderful.
What's that? Sorry,
Thank you, Magda. I know that I am wonderful.
Thank you, Magda, for being so wonderful, is what I'm going to say.
I think we'd have a different conversation about accepting compliments.
We do, actually.
Yeah, we do. On that happy note, today's topic is coaching as a calling. We get a lot of different people through Coacharia, because we're a coach training school, and they have different motivations for why they want to be a coach, and they have different goals as to their coaching journey. So people come from, all ages, all walks of life, and some are very much focused on working with professionals and executives. Others are working with children. I mean, literally, like, coaching can be good for anybody, and literally anybody can become a coach with training. So that's the great part. All the diversity, the one thing that I think is common to the people that come through Coacharia's doors is that bigger thing around coaching is the coaching as a calling. And I know that I'm kind of pretending to speak for everybody who's come to Coacharia, so apologies if this doesn't fit you. But I really think it's a common thread, because we're a coaching school, but people don't really come to us to kind of tick boxes, do they? They come because there's something in them that they're wanting to fulfill. And it's this, what, lack of a better word, it's like a calling. Would you agree with that, Tracy?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that what brought you to Coacharia? Or to coaching, I should say. Forget Coacharia.
Yeah, yeah, it did. And I don't know if I recognized it as a calling at that point in time, but it was this genuine need and need, I think, is the only way to say, to connect with people in a more meaningful way. And I would think that like, despite all the different ways that can show up in people, that's probably the commonality between anyone that decides that they want to become a coach, is that they genuinely want to connect with others. Otherwise, you would just choose to sit in front of a computer or do something differently, right?
Yeah.
Get it. So yeah, I think that would be, to me, the one thing that is in common amongst everyone. That would be a calling. And what a beautiful calling.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So we have about 20 minutes today to cover a really, really big topic.
Yeah.
So why don't we start kind of with the basics? The calling is there. Great. Now what? What does it take to become a coach?
Yeah. Learning to listen would be, I think, the main thing. Learning to listen, and in that listening, that's not just defined to others, but that's to ourselves, and that's the listening in general. Sorry, I clearly needed another cup of coffee this morning.
That's okay.
And a lot of work, but like, when I say work, I don't mean work in a it's not always the easiest, but it's really the most fulfilling. Because I think what I didn't realize coming into this was that I needed to learn to listen to others. I needed to learn to listen to myself. And I needed to do a lot of exploration along the way. Yeah.
So it sounds to me like there's a lot of work on self.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? In a way, I don't even, like, as you're saying that, as I'm saying that, it's also the idea of losing the idea of self, right? In a way. So it's a way of actually really connecting to our heart space, I think, and starting to recognize what we've constructed as our identity, and being able to move that to the side and connect in a meaningful way to our hearts.
Interesting. So, like, I know that you don't get pop culture, so this reference is going to get completely lost on you. But what I'm seeing is, like, in Marvel, you don't know, but others of you who watch movies, you know how in Marvel the sorcerers, they do the thing where they go and like the different soul pieces come out. No, okay, Tracy, your eyes are glazing over. Okay, bad analogy. It sounds to me like you start off as a human, and you are who you are, and you have this thing you want to pursue, this need, this calling, whatever you want to call it. And at least in my experience, coach training was, a lot of kind of self-awareness, and then being able to separate that. And I feel like you're literally becoming a different person. Like you go from Magda the coach to Magda to Magda the coach, and then maybe even, like you said, the kind of losing of yourself. So it's like Magda the coach and then Magda the human, that they can coexist, but sometimes kind of the Magda the human part just needs to stay quiet, and Magda the coach is fully focused on the client. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Is that resonating?
Totally resonating. And in a way, I feel like it's not diminishing, because all of us bring something so important to the world, right? So it's not diminishing that, right? It's like we're all these individual beautiful stars in the sky. Any one of them you would feel a loss of, but it's what we do together that makes us the universe. Okay, this sounds really corny, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like we're part of a bigger whole. So it's recognizing and kind of plugging into that larger thing that is really, really, truly living, that I think is what's so meaningful about coaching. And also realizing, like, the more we coach, how much we have in common as humans. Like realizing that common thread, that commonality, that the connection that we all have to love to fear to, you know, to suffering, all of these things. It's really inspiring. Yeah.
So I think maybe one thing that I did not realize before I actually trained as a coach was that it's not just something you turn on and off. Like once you become a coach, you're a coach, and when you're in that, I don't know how I can compare it to. It's like when you go into a session, it's not like the coach just goes, yeah, I'm just here, I'm gonna listen, and like nothing affects me. Like that takes a lot of work to get to the point where you can turn off that part of yourself and focus on that client and really be there. And it's quite draining emotionally for the coach to be able to do that. Or at least for me, it's quite draining. So before and after, a coaching session, whether I'm being coached or coaching somebody else, like I need a break because it feels like a lot. And at least that's what I don't know. I'm questioning myself a lot because I want to say words like, at least a good coach would feel like that, but maybe a really, really good coach doesn't need that break. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of kind of internal work that happens when you're a coach, and it doesn't start or stop exactly at the session. Like when coaching is your calling and you become that coach that is there for your client, there's always something. It's like, I don't know, like the work never stops.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like I find that when I'm coaching, when I'm connecting with someone, even if I've had a really the most connected, powerful session, you leave it and you feel like your entire body is vibrating. It's still, you need something between that and going back into your day-to-day routine and then coming back into coaching. We're also, like, I think in a way so used to our lives being very compartmentalized and being very focused on doing and objects and one thing after another, that this is a way for our bodies to be, that unless we've been doing it for many, many years, is going to take a toll, because we still live in the material world. We're still going out and we still have to make dinner at the end of the day and talk to our families, who we're not always in the coaching mindset with, which, is more work that we have to do. So, but when I say work, it's like, it's a good thing. Like when you think about it, when people retire, that's when they unfortunately start getting ill, or they start having, unless they replace that retirement with another passion, right? And that usually involves some level of work. We need to feel like we're contributing. We need to feel like we're being productive and giving. And I don't know, I was listening, I think I told you, to this monk talk about his morning routine. It was one of those YouTube videos that came on by accident after I was doing yoga. And it was really beautiful because he was saying, he's like, what monks do every morning is they think about death. I was like, okay. And he's like, we think about the fact that we don't know whether or not we'll have another morning. Like every day, you don't know whether or not it's going to be your last, right? And I thought about that this morning and I got really choked up because I was like, I'm so grateful that what I'm doing in a day is what I would want to be doing.
Sounds like you fulfilled your calling.
Yeah.
So Tracy, you talked about work and you talked about that it's good work. Can you go into a little detail as to what that work actually is when you're a coach? Because I know you meditate, you have a reflective practice and supervision with other coaches and peer coaching. And there's all these things that I know what the boxes are, but because I'm not coaching as much as you, I don't do all the things that I think a good coach for whom coaching is a calling would do. So can you talk to us about those things? Like, what is that work, that deep work that you do on yourself as a human and as a coach? What does it look like?
Yeah, and I'm gonna. I'll talk about that, and then I'm gonna challenge what you said.
Okay.
so,
Okay.
um, so for me, the work that I do is I meditate every morning. So like 6 days a week. I give myself a pass on Sundays, and sometimes I even still do it. But I'll wake up, and before I do anything, I just sit up in bed and I meditate for at least half an hour, sometimes more. Um, I will also, I've been working on trying to set an intention for the day. And like in that intention, it's not today I'm going to, work out and blah, blah, blah. It's more like I try to find a feeling or a word that's going to express the way I need to show up. And a lot of that is tied into my reflection the night before about what what I might have wanted to happen differently. So that's the other thing I do is I also reflect at night. And when I say reflect, I mean like sometimes it's like 5 lines in my journal, sometimes it's 3 pages about what's happened in the day. I try to start off with what I'm really grateful for about myself. When I say myself, I mean ways that I've showed up. So I was like, wow, I noticed that I was really patient yesterday with someone that I'm often not patient with. Not a client, but someone in my life. And I realized it. I was like, wow, lately that's just been showing up for me more easily. And so I was really grateful for that. And I wrote about that. And yeah, and then during the day, it's like making sure that I have a little bit of I always have some sort of practice built in before and after coaching so that I'm not just like boom going onto the screen after sending emails or doing something else. And yeah, and the other thing that's really huge for me is getting time alone, taking Charlie out for walks, getting out in nature. Getting out in nature is huge. Like I find even when I'm blocked, when I'm trying to write something or whatever, like if I go outside, I go for a walk, a lot of it starts like clicking into place. So that's a long-winded way. But I was going to say to you, Magda, when I said I was challenging you is, I know you always say you're not a full-time coach, but you are someone that connects with probably more people in a day, like you, and in a meaningful way, right? Like I've had conversations with you. Your heart is present in every time we speak. And so, and you've talked to me about the things that you do, right? Like garden.
Yeah, that's funny. That like I think it's easier to put labels on things when it's somebody else than when it's you. And you're right. For me, like my gardening is like my meditation. Walking my dog is like my self-coaching. Even standing in the shower, that's my reflection time. I just don't do it, as a here, now I'm going to do this, or every morning meditate. But I do. I just don't call it that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tracy. I feel good about myself.
I also reflect in the shower, and then sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like I've been in here too long. I start feeling guilty about all the hot water that I'm using, but I'm just like so all of a sudden my thoughts open up. It's something about that.
We can do a whole different conversation on guilt and how it's not a useful emotion.
Yes, let's do that for sure.
That's the best.
But so the other thing I wanted to say is that's the thing I think that's the beauty about coaching and, coach training and everything is that we're all going to have our individual approaches, right? Like what works for me is going to work differently for you. And it's going to show up in a different way for you. And it's what's really, really wonderful is that I'm reading this book, The Gift, and it talks about how in gift culture, like a gift passes from person to person, and it basically grows in value based on how many hands it passes through. And I was thinking about that with coaching, because like in a sense, like the gift, it's not what none of this is what we own, but the fact that we're in this world, the fact that we're wanting to connect with other people, that we love other people, that we care about other people. That's a gift, you know? And so the more that we are having these conversations and talking about what inspires us, and every trainer has something different that they're bringing to their training, and they're sharing that, then that just continues growing and growing and changing. And I don't know if you have a superhero reference for that, but I think that's anyway.
Spider-Man, I think.
Spider-Man. Okay.
Mm-hmm. He keeps growing and changing, and like literally there's different versions of him. Anyway, he starts off as a teenager, so he has to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think about it, it's like every time I watch a webinar and I hear a coach speaking about something that they're really passionate about, there's one little spark that will light up for me, and then that translates into something I'm passionate about. And so then my passion shifts a little bit and grows a little bit and expands. So yeah.
So coaching is the ultimate gift.
It's the ultimate gift.
Oh, love it. So Tracy, let's wrap up. And I think maybe a good place to kind of end it would be for people who aren't coaches yet in terms of on paper, but they're coaches in their heart. The coaching is a calling for them. What are the kind of next steps that you encourage them to explore?
Yeah, so the next steps would be to, obviously look into coach training. So that would be it, but start watching our webinars. I think that is also a really powerful way. That's what I did before I started coach training. I actually I looked up Coach Aria, I started watching the Coach Aria webinars. Start reflecting as well. Like think about what it is that's bringing, that's calling you all. And have, the other thing I want to say is believe in the fact that you can do this, because you can. Because I wouldn't have believed that I would be here 10 years ago, and I am. So if there's one little thing, if there's one little spark that's having you feel like, yeah, I want to connect with people in a more meaningful way, then you can be a coach. And an amazing one as well.
Love that. Thank you so much, Tracy. And thank you everyone who's with us live and or watching later. If you want more information about Coach Aria, go to coacharia.com. We obviously do coach training, and we have new programs starting every month. So we'd love to see you there. And if we don't see you there, hopefully we'll see you at our webinars, which happen every single week on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. IST. But you can find all that information. Oh, and they're free. You can find all that information at coacharia.com/events. But for now, I'm going to say thank you, and I will see you here same time next week. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.